like we're protected. Like I'm so used to like that hardcore gangster and me just being like,
Yeah, just
it's gonna be
just sit there and look pretty.
and soft.
Let me handle this.
Okay. And then I get to cook, cooking clean. Like that's the easy part of it.
Absolutely. It shouldn't be complicated.
Definitely. Hello, welcome to Sacred Soul Talk podcast. Our mission here is to lead the lost, the brokenhearted, those who are in the depths of hell back into the light, to give inspiration, to give hope where you've lost hope, to give solution where you see no way out, to open doors that in your head, you can't figure out how to get out of the room. I'm here with a very special guest today. We have Luis Montoya in the house. And I'm excited to share his story. I'm excited for him to share his story and touch, move, and inspire the men who are out there. Now, this man has been through bankruptcy. He's been homeless. And he's fought the demons of suicide. Those demons that are in your head, the noise, the demons of suicide. Like he's about to tell you what happened in his life, how he got through it, and where he's at today. And let's give him and how he's turned all of that around. He took his mess, made it into a message, right? He took all the tests that God gave him, and God showed him how to make that a testimony. And now he's a 7-figure online fitness coach. He's been featured, front page international published cover model. He's one of the biggest business mentors that we know. He's a life coach to men. He also, which you heard the conversation, he helps restore masculinity and purpose back into the modern men. Everybody give a round of applause to Luis Montoya.
Thank you. I appreciate that. See, that was an amazing intro. I don't think I could have done that any better.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I worked on that for the last 2 hours.
It was perfect. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for showing up today.
Yeah.
Thank you for being willing to be vulnerable with me. Mm-hmm. Thank you for taking a stand for world transformation. And thank you for making it out of those dark times. Because when you were in those depths of hell, when you were in that madness, in that darkness, I know it personally, because I've lost a child too. And I've been through suicide, drug addiction, all of that. And when you're there, like there's just no hope. So for me to hear people tell their stories, it makes me think too, like I'm not the only crazy motherfucker out there.
Yeah.
It's opening doors. Definitely. Okay, so what I would like to do is I'm going to start with a prayer before we move forward.
I love that.
Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you right now. Dear Spirit Team, dear angels, dear guardian angels, dear future self, 5 years from now, 10 years, 15 years from now. We ask that through Luis's voice today, through his heart, through his soul, that you will give him the nudge, the intuitive words to speak, that his story will testify of the glory of stepping back into the light, of making a commitment to his higher self, of making a commitment to making a difference in this world today. I pray protection over him, over the podcast, the next hour, that no outside interference, no demons, no demonic warfare. We rebuke and bind any evil eye, any demons that are going to try to come into this spot right now, that he and I may be in open vessel for God and the Holy Spirit to come through and guide our heart and guide our lips to speak words that are going to transform people's lives, that are going to touch people's life, that are going to inspire true and lasting change. We remove our ego, we remove our pride, and we're here to serve. Thank you for this opportunity that we may give back what was so freely given to us. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. I love that. Thank you for doing that, for starting with a prayer. I prayed before I got here, and I walked in with such good frequency, and I'm like ready to go. And right now you're thanking me for being here. And I was just going to say, don't thank me, thank the Lord, because I'm just a vessel. I'm just here to help people, through my message. It's no longer about me. It's about serving people.
Exactly. On that note, I would love for you to introduce yourself, share your story. But before that, let's make this a little fun.
Yeah.
Share with me a fun fact that no one knows.
Oof. Oh my God. A fun fact. I actually wanted to be an artist. So I love music. I used to write music. Many of you guys don't know this, but I thought I was going to be an artist.
Artist like singer,
Singer,
rapper?
like a singer. I
Okay.
used to write music. I used to write songs. That's why I'm so good with words and captions.
Oh,
But
okay.
I actually
We got a
went.
lyricist in the house.
Yeah. I went to music school because I wanted to be an artist, but I was hanging out with the wrong crowd and I dropped out. But everything happens for a reason, and here I am. It led to a bigger purpose. But yeah, I love music, all types of music. I love the fact that music can make you feel so many different emotions. Right? Good, sad. It's a timestamp.
No, I know. I
It's a
steal
timestamp.
all
It'll
your
take you back.
songs from your
Yeah.
stories.
And you know what? I communicate through music, how I'm feeling, what I want to say through lyrics, through music, through choices of music. So once you start paying attention, you'll, that's what he's going through right now. That's
I
what
do.
he's feeling. Yeah.
That's why I
good.
always steal your songs. I'm like,
that.
I'm stealing that.
That's a fun fact.
Okay. Also, now give us just a random fact.
I want 10 kids. I know a lot of people laugh at that and they're like, 10 kids. I actually do. There's a mission behind that.
Okay.
I am on a mission to restore masculinity. Right now, we live in a really fucked up place, really messed up world. Excuse my French. And I feel like God has called me to restore masculinity. I have to find ways to not just leave my legacy because it's not about me. I have to find ways to reproduce myself, replicate myself with the same message of God to be able to fight the matrix, to fight the demons.
I love that you have that vision, that God invoked that, because in the last 3 months, God gave me the vision that I know I'm going to have more children as well. And God gave me the vision and like the intuitive nudge letting me know that it's my job to bear more children because these children are going to be the chosen ones.
Yes.
And that whoever the husband is, God has ordained that me and him are going to raise these very powerful children. And I didn't get that vision till like 3 months ago. And ever since then, I was like, oh, wow, like we're going to be playing a very powerful purpose for these children that we're going to be having. So I like the fact that you have the intuitive nudge as well.
I align with that. And the reason, like, it doesn't have to be 10. I just throw 10 out there. But I mean, that would be nice.
was like, oh.
That'd be nice. I'm ready to take care of them too. But
A lot of surgery.
but
A lot of
the
titty
reason
lifts.
the reason I say that is because I understand that my mission and my calling is to fight the demons that we're facing through society, through social conditioning, through the elite table and all that, right? Which is a spiritual warfare. But I understand that my work is not going to be done. Like, my children will pick up that torch and finish the mission for me. I understand that I'm not going to get that far because it's
Right.
going to take generations to do that, So, and I'm going to be hard on my kids, just like my dad was hard on me. Like, they have
I'm
like they're
heavy-handed,
kings.
yeah.
They're kings, and they have to live up to that name. Like we've been given a mission.
I'm really big on like hardcore parenting.
Yeah.
Like gentle parenting is not on my list. I didn't do that with my daughter. Like I just really believe. I think to me, my perception is the problem with the generation is this whole gentle parenting thing. Like people are like, I've been at restaurants where people's children are like jumping from one booth to another. Well, people are in the booths.
I can't
And
say
I
that.
want to like drag their kid out by the hair and be like, I'm gonna take your
Yeah.
kid to the bathroom and give it a whooping. Like my child will never, ever be in public acting like that. And like, I'll be the mother that thinks it's cute. Like, and I always find like, I don't know if it's a Mexican thing or like, you know, like, I mean, not being a racist, but I feel like white people are like, oh, but Joey's just having a hard day. And I'm like, bro, he's like pulling that random lady's hair when she's trying to eat dinner. Like, I'm huge on that.
You said something really important, and this is not to throw race or anything like that, but you know, Hispanics, and I do believe Black people are a lot more, you know, hands-on with their children, right, than white people are. This is why you have a lot of white kids who backlash at their parents. You'll see little 10-year-olds like telling dad and mom, "No, F you," you know. My kid did that to me. Oh.
You're getting the ass whooping.
Yeah. My mom would have spanked me on the spot.
No, you literally, and I think too, if you think about it, like you don't see Mexican kids walking up in schools doing any Columbine stuff or Black kids. It's the white kids that aren't being like, oh, but he's having a bad week. Bro, he's been having a bad week his whole motherfucking life. Like, who, like...
It's lack of accountability. That's what it is. I think it's lack of accountability. And it also, I mean, let's just leave race out of the equation. No, because, you know, I think it's just, it comes with poor parenting. You have to have structure. You have to have a masculine father figure who is hard on the kids, because think about it right now, like the stuff that's going on right now, the reason that the world is so messed up, it's because there's no masculine men. 10 years ago, this stuff was normal, right? 10 years ago, 10, 15, 20 years ago, you know, if something happened, the dad would be like, nope, this is my house. You're not going to smoke. You're not going to drink. You're not going to do this. Not underneath my roof. If you do, you're out, or you're going to get a spanking, or you're going to have to deal with it. Right? You're going to get an ass whooping. Like, it's not going to happen. Not on my clock.
Not I'm taking away your Nintendo game.
Right? So that's what it is.
And then he's like, go ahead, take it away.
There's no accountability. There's no masculinity. It starts with, I always say, all the problems, and I stand behind this, all the problems start with the man and ends with the man, because we should be the leaders. If something happens to your girl, for example, you know, everybody has free will, everybody has choices and so, but let's just take something extreme, right? Okay. Like infidelity, right? Your girl cheated on you. What did you do, bro? What did you do to not show up as that masculine provider, leader, protector, that person who was in love, right? The reason I say this is because I know most women will agree with this. Yeah. When a woman is truly in love, she has no eyes for another man. Ever. It's just him. Because I hate to say it this way, but it's almost like she looks up to that man for inspiration, right? There's no other man matters, right? So what did you do to not do your task as a man? Go ahead.
Okay. Cheating, right?
Yeah, we're talking about cheating and fidelity. And I said that it starts and ends with the man. So I keep men accountable when it comes to that.
Fuck. I got...
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You're trying to think back?
I know. You just...
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Relationships, men, women. Oh, okay. No, okay. So we're going to go back to the masculinity thing. Yeah. Okay. Because I've also had this conversation with girlfriends I've had friends who are literally like in the next room fucking their man's friend.
That's crazy.
Wait, okay. And literally I'm mind blown. Like, and then and I think in my head, like, oh, this makes sense because her man's a little, right?
That's
because it just dropped my mind. I'm older too, so 47. Out of all my years, everyone I've ever dated, I fear them. Yeah. Even like during the breakup, I don't want no one coming in the house because I've dated nothing but killers. Yeah. Like, so my fear was like, I fear I've dated such masculine men that I might get dragged across the room if I was to do that. But then I look at the guy they're dating and he's like, Mr. Nice Guy. Yeah. Lets her do whatever she wants. doesn't put her in her place. There's no boundaries, lets her speak back. She runs all over him. And I'm like, that's the difference. I don't date guys like that.
Yeah.
Never in a million years.
You know what's really interesting? That this stuff, again, we were talking about this earlier. This stuff was normal 10, 15 years ago, right? But now it's like, no, you're being controlling. He's toxic and so and so. No, maybe this man is just being protective of you. Like, I'm gonna protect my girl. Like, if you're my wife, you're my girl. Ain't nobody touching you ever.
Right.
Like, I would not allow that. You get what I'm saying? Why? Because I don't trust other men. I trust you. I don't trust other men. Like, I am gonna do everything in my power to make sure that you are safe, right? And if something were to happen like that, I'm just not going to allow it. I'm not going to entertain it. Like, you're out. Like, there's no negotiation or anything like that, right? There has to be some type of fear in the sense of like, you fear the loss. You have to, like, that's the problem with men. They don't have the balls to walk away. They don't. You have to be secure enough with yourself to be able to walk away and mean it. That's the thing. Most guys are like, oh, I'm going to be out. Then they're back. You get what I'm saying? Like, you have to, that comes from a lack of abundance, right? Most men, unfortunately, they haven't worked on themselves. They don't, they have their finances, their body. They're not secure enough to understand that there's, I don't know the numbers, but 3.4 billion other women out there who want to be a part of your life.
Yes.
I don't think people are replaceable, but nobody should stand for any type of disrespect. Ever. Right? If you allow it, just like a man, my mom told me at a young age, a woman allows how far a man gets, but also a man allows how far a woman can disrespect him.
Yeah.
At the very, we choose to ignore the red flags because everybody shows us the red flags, both men and women.
I think, and I post about this so much because guys tolerate so much abuse and emotional abandonment, or just let women use them so much, and there's no consequences to the girl.
Yeah.
Like, that girl's going to continue to bully you, to punk you, to not show up, to not meet your needs because
you allowed it.
You're going to stay staying no matter what she does to you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You walk out of our motherfucking lives. Like, I mean, I don't have this experience because I'm a fucking high value woman and I treat my men like kings. But
Love it. Yeah.
I remember, I was in a bad marriage, right? And it was toxic. So he did, once I got a little older, I was like, I'm gonna do everything back to you. So I started dating after that. And I remember I dated someone that I really liked, but I was so toxic because that's all my husband taught me.
Yeah.
It was who can hurt who more. So I remember dating this guy and I did something. And immediately he looked at me and literally said, why did you just do that? And I was like what?
Yeah, it was normal too.
No, yeah, and it was normal to me, and then I would never get called out on it or held accountable. My ex-husband wasn't going to leave.
Yeah,
it's just that's just the game we played.
Yeah.
And he literally looked at me and he said, "Date is over. I'm dropping you off, and I don't ever want to talk to you again."
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I was mind blown.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen a boundary.
Yeah.
Nor anyone enforce their boundary. And I literally thought, okay, I'm gonna let him cool off. A week later, I was like, hey. And he was like, no. I said, what? Wait. 2 weeks later, I was like, hi. And he was like, nope. And I was like,
yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's not funny anymore. Like, let's get back. And he was like, no.
Yeah.
I said, no, my no's my no. Like, I don't know who allows you to do that. He's like, but I would never. And I was like, I never forgot that. And you know what? I never did it again.
Yeah.
I never did it again because I really liked that guy. And I said, and that was the first time I realized, but guys don't like nice girls. If I would have been nice.
Yeah.
And then I thought, wait, then that's the first time I knew, you mean I could actually be a nice girl again? And there's guys that would actually date me like that?
Yeah.
And I would never forget. That was like the very defining moment for me that I knew, wow, there's guys out there that really do just want a nice girl.
Absolutely. There's a lot of stuff that you can unpack there, and I think that's very, very common when you have you said obviously it was a toxic relationship. I've been in a toxic relationship as well. A lot of it comes from childhood trauma, abandonment issues, and, just everything roots back to childhood, right? But it's just hurt people, right? And when you get two people that are hurt and they don't know how to love each other, and they think that abuse is the only way to feel loved.
Yeah.
They allow that. And I even seen it with women, like not to get super graphic or anything like that, but I've dated women who were like in domestic violence and things like that, right? And even like in an intimacy, they want to be treated that way. And it really gets me thinking, like in a way, I'm like, man, maybe this is rooting from childhood. The fact that the only person who loved them used to hit them and they would feel wanted. So it's almost like they crave it, right? And it's almost like a sense of reassurance, like, you love me, hit me.
Right.
It's okay to hit me because now I'm getting that dopamine. It's crazy if you really think about it. That's just my perspective. I don't know if it's right or wrong or anything like that. It's just an observation that I've made through the years as I start,
100% sure.
right? Right? It always got me thinking, like, a lot of the women that are into that, they've been through some type of,
Abuse.
physical abuse, right? Don't get me wrong. We all love that. It's sexy, it's seductive, and it's kinky and so, and obviously raises attraction and all that. But
Why do you have a
it's a
black eye
pattern
today?
if you really
Don't
start
worry
thinking
about
about it. It's a pattern that usually happens. Yeah, crazy. It's a great way to start. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so 10 kids. We got our random fact.
Yeah.
10
10 kids.
Awesome. Okay, so no plan B for you. Have you named them all?
No. That's a good question. No, I don't think I've thought that far. But that would be amazing. I think 10 kids. My grandma had 24 kids, Mexican. I think they were just bored. They lived in a little ranch. 24 kids. Poor woman.
Was she ever not pregnant?
Right? I know.
So
It's crazy.
they were just freaks. Grandpa was just like, I ain't pulling
He ain't pulling out. I mean, he ain't pulling out and praying. He was just, but you know what? The beautiful thing about that, now when we go to like family events, it's such a big family. Family is everything. That should be the purpose. Like, I do believe that as men, like, our purpose in life is growth, seeking growth, becoming the best version of ourselves, healing our trauma, which is super important. That gets neglected and nobody wants to talk about. You have to heal yourself to be able to become the best version of yourself, right? Become wealthy. I do believe that finances are super important because, unfortunately, women want to be taken care of, and if you're going to have kids, you got to be able to
stay home and pop out
exactly,
kids.
and you have to be able to provide. But more importantly, in today's society, whether you guys want to admit this or not, people listen when you have money. When you have money, you have influence in people. So if you're someone who has a strong
power.
message, it's power. It really is.
And for women, it's security.
Exactly. So it's very important for men to have that in their life. You got to be physically fit to be able to protect, health is wealth. And more importantly, family, building a legacy, building a family, taking, like, for me, becoming a father is one of the biggest desires that I have. Why? Because I've worked on myself so much that I just want to see a better version of me. That should be life, right? A 2.0 version of me, right?
That's how I feel about my daughter.
Right.
Like, my daughter, Jasmine's literally me, but like elevated.
Yeah, right? So imagine if you were to be able to pass on all the stuff that you learned through life and just leave out all the negative stuff that you don't like about yourself. Isn't that what life should be about? Growth, evolution, right?
I love that. Me too. Oh, my little heart scream.
Yeah.
On that note, share with everyone what you've been through.
Yeah, absolutely.
What it was like, how you got through it, and where you're at today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I come from a immigrant family. I'm going to try to like narrow it down because then otherwise I'm going to take up the whole hour. But I was born in Mexico, Lagos de Moreno, Jalisco.
Oh, you're
Saludos,
first
Jalisco.
generation.
Yes.
I feel first generation Mexican. I feel any Mexicans, period, are very traditional. But first generations are always traditional. Yeah. Even second generation, I'm like, oh, I kind of find when you get third, fourth, fifth, people lose the tradition.
Yeah, the traditional.
But I love it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I was brought here when I was 2 years old. And even at a young age, I faced a lot of traumas, a lot of stuff that I don't think any child should go through. When we crossed over, my aunt, she crosses over, and I remember, like, I still remember this. I was like 2, 3 years old, and I still remember her getting in a fight with her husband, who turned out to be her husband later. But I remember the guy was very toxic, and he was threatening to kidnap and kill me and my brother if she did not cooperate with him. He was trying to get her to do something, and she was, she was very in her masculine. She was like, no, I ain't gonna do it, so and so. And he ended up grabbing me and my brother and dragged us through the airport, and he kidnapped us, and he was threatening that he was gonna kill us. And this is at 2 years old.
You remember?
I still remember. I very vividly. I still remember this. I actually very rarely talk about this, but I got molested when I was 2 years old by an Annie. So it's just 3 years old. I still remember all of it, which is crazy how far back the mind can go,
Yeah.
But these
2 years old
yeah,
is little.
which is crazy. Yeah. But I still remember all this stuff. Like she used to try to force me to have sex with her at 2, 3, 4 years old. I still remember all of it. Yeah. And I was just I don't blame my parents for it because my parents are just trying to provide for us.
Right.
But I grew up in Carlsbad. Carlsbad is like a nice city now. It's like a tourist area. But back in the day, in like late 80s, 90s, it was gangland. It was drive-bys. I remember like coming home from school.
Carlsbad. Where's Carlsbad?
Carlsbad is Oceanside, Carlsbad, Escondido, North County, San Diego.
Okay.
Wes is actually from Oceanside, which is the neighbor city from it. So he grew up around that area. And he would testify to this, but it was crazy. I remember middle school, I would come home. I witnessed my neighbor's house get shot at. Their drive-by just happened, like plain daylight, 4 o'clock. Someone got a Uzi, shot down the whole house. There would be hookers in the street. There would be guys shooting.
I remember
guys
back in the
shooting
day,
up.
hookers would be in the street.
Yeah, guys shooting up crystal meth in their garage with their garage halfway open. Everybody knew what was happening, But that was the environment that I grew up in, and so all I knew was gangs. I started smoking weed when I was 9. I drank my first beer around 10. I thought I wanted to join a gang. When I was around that age, 10, 11, and then I regretted it. I went home and I was like trying to, I grabbed a little needle and tried taking that out. But there was a lot of emotional abuse that happened, a lot of abandonment. My parents were never around. All they did was work. That's all they knew. They would work 2, 3 jobs. That happened, ended up growing up. Got into a long-term relationship. I found, my ride or die at that moment. And, it was puppy love, 15 years old. She was 15, I was 16.
I love it.
Yeah.
He's like, I found my ride or die. I was 15. That's so cute.
Yeah. And, she was my best friend at that time. We did everything together. We're in a 20-year relationship. And sure enough, man, I put her through so much.
20 years?
20 years, yeah.
Wow.
We stayed together for 20 years, on and off. It was a very toxic relationship. We were young. We came from broken homes, like her parents had such a bad relationship, like her dad. He's probably watching. Her dad would sleep. Her dad would sleep in a different room, and her mom would sleep in a different room. And I would see that, and they thought it was normal. I'd be like, why is he sleeping in a different room? They're like, oh, that's what they do. I'm like, that's not normal.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Your dad did something. Did your dad cheat on your mom? Like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened. But that happened. And my parents, my dad was, at that time, he was very verbally abusive to my mom and everything. And it's just, they're good parents, but they just didn't have any type of mentorship. This is why mentorship is so important, right? My dad was a baller. My dad was always a hustler. He taught me how to work. Like at 4 or 5 years old, I would go to the Swami, start selling chicles, the cassettes and all that stuff. All I knew was just hustle. But we got together super young and moved in together. Everything was good. And sure enough, I remember one day she got pregnant and she was like, you're going to be a dad. And I was scared shitless. Like I was fat. I got out of shape. I was fat. I was 100 pounds overweight. I was working a dead-end job. I spent all my money, and I was a car guy. So I had a Camaro, a super sport Camaro, and it was a drag car. Such a cool car. It was a very famous car. And
it was, yeah.
So, I made that car famous in general. Like Jay Leno took pictures with it. It was on, so it was that specific car that I built.
Yeah.
Because I used to build cars. It was on a magazine. It was on TV. So I built a famous car. Right. But all my money would go there. So my priorities weren't straight.
Right.
I was broke trying to act like I was making it, and it was just, it sucked. But, just all I gave my attention to my girl, and there's no sense of masculinity at that time because my dad wasn't around to tell me, hey, you don't do that, you know?
Yeah.
And sure enough, when she got pregnant, I was just like, I hit rock bottom. I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, man, I don't think I'm ready for this. Like, I need to make a change. And I had that conversation with myself, and I was like, I need to make a change. Like, I don't want my kid to see me this way. Like, I just want to be a superhero dad. Like, I want to be the dad that my dad wasn't for me. Like, I need to make a change. And I started working on myself, and I started running, and that was so painful because I was 100 pounds overweight. My ankles would hurt and everything. And sure enough, I remember one day I saw a magazine. There was a fitness cover, Muscle and Fitness magazine. And I saw it and I was like, man, that guy is like really good looking. He's got the body, he's got the look, he's got the comb over, he's got the beard, and he's got the abs. Sure enough, it turned out to be me later on. But there was that image. I manifested everything, which is crazy, you know? And I remember I bought the magazine, right? And I was like, I'm going to be that guy in that magazine, right? And sure enough, I started working out, and, you know, I started losing weight. And I remember one day, you know, she was like 4 months, 5 months into the pregnancy, and I woke up and she was in the bathroom. It was like a movie scene, you know, it was dark, but there was just that little light shining, and she was on the floor. She was crying, and I opened the door, and I was like, I didn't even know what I was going to walk into, you know? And sure enough, there was blood everywhere, and she looked at me, and she was like, I don't know what's happening. And she like looked down, and you know, it was like a mess, and I was like, oh shit. And sure enough, at that point, I was working a dead end job. I was literally walking a fine line. My boss was like, you're gonna get fired if you show up late one more time. And I was like, fuck, I don't want to get fired. So me not being the protector that's very important for men to be, I decided to go to work instead of going to the hospital with her. Right? I was like, I'm gonna see if I can get off of work and I'll meet you at the hospital. When I got to the hospital, you know, child was dead, and I was like, she was broken because it sucked because we wanted it so much. Like, I remember talking to the baby at night, and like, you know, it's one thing that I'm never gonna forget this moment. But they always say that pregnant women have such a glow. I remember once she showed up to my job and she was wearing like a little flower, little, you know, soft era little dress. And I remember I was like, I used to be a butcher, right? So I was like cutting my meat and everything in the back, and I saw her, and there was like this little sense of light, like shining down on her. It was just, she was pregnant, right? And she looked so beautiful pregnant. And I was like, oh my God, that's when I knew. I was like, this is, I want this, you know? And we named the kid, you know, we were making plans. Like, we weren't planning on losing the kid, but it broke her, it broke me, and we never talked about it. That was the worst thing, because now it built resentment, and it turned into a toxic relationship. It was arguing about everything. It was just the fact that I never gave her a safe place to be able. It's crazy. Now I know exactly where I went wrong. You know, I never protected her. I never made her feel safe. I was never there for her. And she had to go into her masculine, you know, and that just turned into a very toxic relationship. And I lost that relationship. 20 years, lost a child. And I remember I got fired. So then I had to declare bankruptcy, and at that time I didn't have a good relationship with my parents. And I remember I was like, I don't have anywhere to go, and they're like, we got a full house, you can't come here. I'm sorry. And I was like, oh fuck, what am I supposed to do? So I started sleeping in the park, and I was like, fuck, like my whole life completely changed within a week or so. So I was there, and I remember. I was sleeping in the park for like a month or two, a couple months, and just watching the days go by. And I was just contemplating suicide every single day. You know, I was just like, how am I going to do it? Am I going to hang myself? Am I going to, you know, cut my wrist? And I remember my mom was like, hey, if you want, you can stay here for one day, like for one weekend or something, right? Like there's a couch. And I was like, oh, cool. And I had access to the internet. I started Googling how to commit suicide without the pain. Like, I just wanted to go. Like, I was just such in a dark place. I just didn't have anything to live for. I lost my girl. I lost my job, my finances, you know, the sense of life. Everything was just taken away from me, you know? I just felt like a nobody. And sure enough, I remember I started Googling and I decided I was going to do it. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go in the bathroom. I'm going to grab a knife and I'm just going to slice my wrist. And I went in the bathroom. I got the knife and I was looking at myself and I started crying and I was having that conversation with myself, you know, with no words, just looking at myself, having that conversation with myself, like, you're about to do this, you know? And I remember at that time, I didn't have a good relationship with God at all. And I remember I took the knife and once I put it here, I looked at myself and I started talking to God. I was like, God, if there is a God, I don't know why you want me to go through this, but if you want me to go through this, please, please, please just help me get through it because I can't do this alone. And I fell down on my knees and I surrendered my life to Jesus. And at that moment, I swear that was the first time that I felt the Holy Spirit pick me up. At that very moment, because I surrendered. I fully surrendered. And sure enough, I went back to the park, you know, because life goes on. And I was just like, I was going through depression and anxiety, and I didn't know any of it. And, you know, Hispanics, we don't talk about any of that stuff. You know, it's very foreign. Yeah,
you're not supposed to
it's just like
feelings.
yeah. It's like man up, you know. Yeah. Just get through it. And sure enough, I remember one day I was like, you know what, I'm sick and tired of being this person. Like I'm gonna create a new character in life, right? And I remember I got down a piece of paper, right? I had a notepad with me, and I started writing down everything that I wanted in life, right? I started writing down that I wanted to be the guy in the magazine cover. I wanted a six pack. I wanted good hair. I wanted to be financially fit, physically fit. I wanted a good relationship with God. And I wanted to have like a celebrity type of life and everything. I just started writing everything down. And I was like, okay, I'm going to call that a blueprint, right? It's crazy how like Wes came into the picture. I was attracted to Wes because of the stuff that he was saying was the stuff that I was saying.
Right.
And, you know, I'm sure you know about light workers and all that stuff,
we're
spirituality.
attracted to each other.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of his message that's very similar to mine. And I was just like, I'm not crazy. Like there's something going on here. But I created a blueprint to my, you know, to rebuilding my life. And everything that I ever wanted in life, I was like, I'm going to work for it. Regardless of how I feel, I'm going to show up. Why? Because it's important to me. I always tell all my clients that transformation has to be emotional. It can't be surface level. It can't be like, oh, I want to get a six pack for my birthday. Like that's surface level.
Right.
For me, I had no choice. I hit rock bottom and I was just so sick and tired of the way that I looked. I didn't need a change. I desired a change. I demanded a change. So I got to work and I was like, okay, if I'm going to be successful, I got myself a cell phone and I started looking on the internet. I would watch videos from, you know, Will Smith, Oprah, Kobe Bryant, and Jim Carrey. And I told you earlier, I'm a very smart guy. I see stuff that people don't see. I noticed that all these people were saying the exact same thing. They're talking about the law of attraction.
Yeah.
They're talking about, you know, karmic debt, you know, the laws of the universe. And I started thinking to myself, what do these people know that I don't know? Then I started looking back at old videos and I started going back to the scriptures. I started going back to the Bible. And I was like, there has to be some type of like infinite intelligence that has been passed down through generations. And these people got a hold of it and I haven't. What do they know that I don't know? So I started studying universal laws, right? Sure enough, I got to work and here I am, got into bodybuilding. From bodybuilding, I don't want to get too deep into that because that'll take up the whole podcast, but I got into bodybuilding. I've been a 4-time international magazine cover model, built a 7-figure business, transformed thousands of people. And just recently I felt God calling me to a new calling. Like I do believe that God, everything had to happen the way that it happened to position myself where I am now, to have some type of influence over people, to be able to share the word of God. Like I do believe that God wants me to restore masculinity and fight the spiritual warfare that's going on right now and help guide what people call weak men. To me, I do believe it's just people that don't have the guidance to be able to show them, get them to the light, get them back to the kingdom, you know? And where's the kingdom? Some people might say heaven, but I say I am the kingdom because God is inside of me. You get what I'm saying? So if I lead people back to me and I live through the word of God, then I'm doing God's work. This is how we restore life. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And where did mentorship come in? When did you decide I'm going to give back freely what was given to me and
Yeah.
introduce people to your blueprint? How long has that been going on?
To mine. Well, I always knew that seeking mentorship was super important. It's a shortcut to success. I got my own mentorship through YouTube videos. I couldn't afford it, right? And I
Right.
got to a point where I was able to afford it, and I had to literally get credit cards and put all my nickels and pennies together to be able to force myself to get the level up, right? And I saw how important it was. So for me, when it came to mentorship, it started with fitness. That was the early stages, right? People would ask me like, do you do any personal training? I'm like, no. They're like, oh, can you train me? I'm like, I'm not a trainer. They're like, well, can you train me? I'm like, I'm not certified. They're like, I don't care. I'm like, I don't even know how much to charge. They're like, $50, $60 an hour, And I'm like, I'll take it. Okay, cool. Then got into online coaching. From online coaching, COVID happened, and that was my first mentorship that I paid for. I remember right before, shout out to King Keto. If he's watching this, that dude changed my life forever. So I remember
what is
King
he?
Keto. He's a fitness YouTuber, business mentor, just like Wes. He's huge. He's a business consultant. He reached out to me right before COVID, and he was like, "Dude, I see that you have a brand. I see your story and everything. You need to get on this like online coaching because they're gonna shut down the gyms." And I was like, really? He's like, bro, like, trust me, I got word from upstairs that they're going to close the gym like within the week. Sure enough, they ended up closing it 2 days later, which is crazy. You remember that 2020, 2021. I can't remember like the exact dates.
Yeah, I have a home gym because my daughter is a trainer. So every one of our friends was like, can we come use your gym? I'm
Yeah.
like, haha.
Yeah. He was like, you need to jump on this. And I was like, how much is it? And he was like, $10,000. I'm like, I don't have $10,000. And I remember he was like, find a way to get it, bro. You need to get on this now.
Yeah.
I will teach you how to build a business and everything. And sure enough, I remember I was like, I had like $1,000 here. Then I started applying for credit cards. I ended up, getting the money. I paid them. And sure enough, that was like my first mentorship and, my first taste to what decent money was. Like, I remember he was like, I can teach you how to make 10,000 a month. And I was like, 10,000? I need more than 10,000. And he's like, well, I can get you to 10,000 in 3 months. I was like, I want to get to 10,000 in 30 days. Like, you don't understand. I need this.
Yeah.
Like, I need this. You don't understand. Like, I have my back behind the wall. Like, I need this, bro. Like, and that's why it's so important for men to hit rock bottom, because that's when it forces you to level up and you get resourceful. Sure enough, I hit 40,000 my first month, my first 30 days, 40,000, which was crazy,
I'm so jealous when I hear everyone do this. I'm like, what the hell? I've been in this
I didn't
for
know
years
anything
and-
about sales or anything, but you know what it was? I understood people. I understood because I was fat. I was obese, and I knew what people were feeling. So then he had, this amazing script, like a sales script, that he gave me. And sure enough, it was a 60-minute script. I ended up closing people, like my calls, in 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And he's like, how much money have you made? And I'm like, I think it was like 14,000 in 1 week. And he's like, how many calls are you booking? And, we started going through the whole thing. He's like, how long is it taking you to close them? I'm like, 25 minutes. And he's like, what? He's like, okay. He got me on a call and he was like, I want to teach us how you're doing this. And I wrote a famous sales script. It's actually the most famous sales script in the whole fitness industry, called the 25-minute script, and
What? Why have I never heard of this?
so I created that, and
I need this
that
script.
script,
script.
that script has made millionaires. Like, I still get people who message me to this day who are like killing it in business, and they're like, bro, thank you. Like, you changed my life, and I'm like, damn. So then I was like, damn, I need that level up, So, and, sure enough, I started working for Brandon. Brandon was one of my first mentors. I owe so much to Brandon. I'm always going to praise him for that, because he showed me the way. But after that, I started, investing into other great mentors. I've got 5 mentors at the moment, because I was not afraid to pay big money for them, because if I want to be the best, I got to learn from the best.
The best.
Yeah. So I got 5 mentors, and sure enough, I went into business, and I was like, I was already teaching Brandon's, through his program. the coaching and all that stuff, then after I left his program, a lot of people were like, coach me. And I was like, I started kind of coaching on the side a little bit, but I was like, I got to focus on me. Life was hitting me and everything. I was like, I felt almost like I wasn't authentic to them by not being authentic to myself. And I was like, I got to fix me first, So I just took some time off and I was like, there's more to learn. That's when I hired Wes. That's when I hired, Brian, Cole, and all these guys. And I was like, man, like it's endless, like the information. But yeah, I've been in the coaching space for 13 years. So it's been great.
Awesome. Okay. And anybody watching this right now who is on the fence of like, they love what you're saying. They want the results, but they just hear all these crazy stories about mentorship and everything. What piece of advice would you give to anyone who's thinking about mentorship?
Yeah, the way that you have to view mentorship is it's literally a shortcut to success. You can try to figure it out alone. You might, but it's going to take you a lot of money, time, resources. It's a lot of wasted time. The stuff that I've learned from my mentors saved me. It's been 13 years of my journey. People think I'm an overnight success story, but I'm not. I've been doing this for 13 years.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When I first went into business, I hit six figures in 6 months, which is, when people talk about entrepreneurship and they're like, oh, it's so hard being an entrepreneur. Yeah, it's hard because it's time consuming, but I never went through the struggles of like, oh, I wasn't killing it. I was always killing it because that's who I am. Like when I set my mind to something, I do it. The biggest advice that I can give you is if you're going to go into entrepreneurship, if you want to seek mentorship, don't just kind of do it because you're going to kind of get results. Go all in. How I do one thing is how I do everything in life. Like do it and experience it for the fullest. Like try to absorb all the information that you can because it can be life-changing. Like the stuff that I've learned from all my mentors it's literally, it created me. Without that mentorship, I wouldn't be me. I wouldn't, because it's bits and pieces of every single one of my mentors that created me and my success. So do it, invest, find people that are doing the stuff that you want to do in life. That's what I did. I found guys that had the cars that I wanted. I found guys that had the body that I wanted. I found guys that had the social presence that I wanted. And I was like, teach me. And I was coachable. Because
that's a huge one, being coachable. A lot of people are not coachable.
Yeah. Even till today, I have my own mentorship program. I have everything, but I still have 5 mentors because I know there's still stuff that they can teach me. Like the moment that you put your ego first and you're like, oh, why am I going to pay this person $10,000? I can do it alone. Yeah, you can. But time is money. Like how much time of consciousness do we really have?
Yeah.
I'm about to turn 40. I'll be lucky if I have at least another 15, 20 years before I end up in a wheelchair or die from getting hit by a car or something. Like time is ticking, like just do it, invest. You only get one life. And this is a quote from Greg Plitt. Shout out to Greg Plitt, RIP.
I like quotes. Let's go. Give it to me.
You only live once, but if you live it right, once is enough. One life. There's another quote that I have on my arm because he was a big mentor of mine for fitness, modeling and stuff like that. He was the #1 fitness cover model at that time when I got into it. There was this one video that I didn't talk about, but the wake up moment that I had in my life, there was this video where he would wake up at 3:00 in the morning every single day. There's a lot of people that do that now, but before it was very rare. I'm talking about 7 years ago or so. He'd wake up at 3:00, 4:00. He would be in the gym in Miami, killing it. This guy was in amazing shape. This is why he took over the whole industry in the fitness industry. And to this day, people still talk about him. But this one video, he had like this little vintage clock and he was taking it. And he's like, second by second, you lose the opportunity to become the man that you were destined to become. Take fucking control of your life. That was like, whew. Every second counts. That's why I live my life with the urge, like a sense of urgency. Like every second counts. I don't want to show up to heaven and be like, God, I'm sorry, I didn't finish the mission.
Yeah.
Like we all have the tools to be successful. God, I always say there's greatness inside of every single one of us, but it's your job to uncover that and do the work. Do the fucking work. Nobody wants to do the work. That's the thing.
It's so true.
All right.
Oh my goodness. I have I have these personality characters that you see when I do my motivations, and I'm always like, there's, don't be a Debbie Downer, bitter Betty, tormented Tara, anguished Anna. uh, you know, it- it's, and it's a great representation of people are always victims versus, hey, I'm going to show up. I'm going to put the work in, and I'm just going to shut the fuck up and listen to everyone who's at levels above me so that I too can get to that level. And I think one of the biggest things into getting a mentorship is really allowing yourself to be teachable. Because I've had mentors, same thing, businessmen. My first business mentor was 10 years ago. And I always go to someone that has what I want, and then I learn, how they're doing it. And I've come really far in regards to my coaching and where I was at versus where I'm at today.
Yeah.
And, and you're going to go through different mentors at different time periods, different energies, different levels, different things that you're choosing. And I believe each of us has our own soulmate clients.
Absolutely.
I believe everyone that's ever going to work with you, when they were born, God already assigned them to you.
I believe that.
And I believe too with my soulmate clients is like God knew, okay, Deanne, you want to be a mentor, in your life. Well, I need to go through all this first. Yeah. So I went through everything, and then here I am today, and now it all makes sense that all the mess in my life is now my message.
Yeah.
All the tests that I went through was because God needed me to testify.
Yeah.
Because if I want to be the best mentor, the most influential Latina woman in the world, that means I need to be able to speak to the masses. And I need to have gone through some really dark stuff in order for me to relate to every woman that's out there.
Yeah.
And when I look at it that way, I'm like, wow, like I'm so grateful for all those tormented moments of my life, because today my story and who I am, I can I don't think there's anything a woman can tell me she's been through that I have not experienced as a traumatic experience that I could walk somebody through. Yeah. And now it's knowing that, God already knew, okay, I have this person lined up for Deanne and this person lined up for Deanne and this person lined up for Deanne. But I need Deanne to get her fucking shit straight. Like, I need to testify, Deanne. Like, we need you to do the inner work so that you can get here so you can lead others. Yeah. And that's really like how I look back at it now. So I'm so aligned with wherever I'm at, even right now. Like, I still have so many clients that are out there that at the right timing, God's going to be like, boom, you guys are going to come into thing. So I just stay ready. I love that. I stay committed to being at my highest level. I stay committed to my health, committed to my sobriety, committed to my mental health. And I find like the more that I live by these daily wins, it's those little stacks every day that, I just keep building them up and I keep building them up. Like, God's going to continue to do bigger things with me, to use you in a more powerful way. Because there's so many lives out there that you're still meant to change.
Absolutely.
And there's so many hundreds of thousands of millions of lives that I want to change, that I know I'm meant to change. Yeah. And my only job is I show up every day. Like, how can I serve God? How can I be of service today?
I love that. You have to. That's when it changes. When you become a vessel and it's no longer about you. There's a lot of stuff that you said that is powerful, right? The first thing that first of all, congratulations for turning everything around. And I genuinely mean that. For me, I always tell people, like, find people that have been through shit, all types of stuff, because those are the people that you can trust. If they were able to flip everything around into a positive way, they will show you The reason that you're such a great mentor is because you've been through it. You get what I'm saying? That's the same reason why I'm such a great mentor. And with life coaching, like there's nothing that you can throw at me that I haven't been through. You know, I've been through bankruptcy. I got cheated on. I lost a 20-year relationship, divorce, whatever you want to throw at me. I've been through it. You know, I've been through, I got molested at a young age, you know, childhood abandonment, anxiety, depression. Anything that you can throw at me, I can tell you how to solve it. Why? Because I've been through it. You have to be able to be willing to walk through hell and get out of hell to show people the light. And I do believe that God allows us to walk through hell so we can guide people out of there.
You know, another like vision that I had recently, the whole thing about also like me having the kids is, when I look back at like, you know, I've been in 12-step programs or anywhere I've been where there's a lot of people in addiction. Like now, like I have this other vision now that me seeing things clearly is I see everything as spiritual warfare. Like everything. Like I don't ever look at, oh, you know, like that, oh, you know, like him and her are just toxic. I always look at it as who's the chosen one and who was sent by Satan. Because to me, there's a chosen person, right? And people are sent from Satan, personally handpicked, like, ooh, you're a pretty girl. I'm going to send you into this guy's life just to fuck his life up.
Yeah.
Because we need him not to be at his highest level. We need him not to get into the God consciousness. We need him not to reach those soulmate clients. Yeah. So I always look at things in a spiritual sense. And so anywhere I go, there's a lot of addiction or anybody that's going through hell. Even when I see people now, I immediately thinking, oh my God, like there's like, you're a chosen one. Like you don't see it now. You don't see it now, but I see where you're supposed to be. Yeah. I see the favor God has on your life. I see the calling that's on your life. You don't see any of that. But I also didn't see that when I was there. No one told me that. No one claimed that over me. I had zero idea. But I know now that God has favor on you. And Satan has sent his biggest demons to keep you in hell. We need to get you the fuck out of there. Yeah. Because when you get through it, and years from now, the book you're going to write, the story, the movies that are going to be made on you, the TV series, like all these huge things that are going to happen, we never saw that when we were in hell. Yeah. And I feel like only chosen ones are the ones in hell because the rest of the world hasn't been hell. Yeah.
Well, they can't handle it either because they were not chosen for the mission.
Yes,
that's what it was. You know, they would fold. They would fold. You said something really important. You said, because I say this, and this is how I know you're a chosen one, because I say the exact same thing to my clients. I see them as the most fit, elevated, beautiful version of themselves. You know, and I'm like, this is why it hurts me.
God shows you.
Yeah, he shows them. Yeah, yes. It hurts me when they don't follow through because I see the greatness inside of them. You know, and it's my job to show it to them, right? Which is powerful, but also, and I was talking about the book, Outwitting the Devil, very, very important book for everybody to go read. Because in that book, they talk about how when you raise your level of consciousness, the devil will send his agents. He calls them agents.
Oh, agents? Okay.
He's got agents all over the place, right?
Okay.
And
I like that
in
word.
politics,
I always say demons. Yeah.
In politics, you know, girls, whatever it is that we're talking about a man, whatever a man desires, Satan knows. He's smarter than all of us. He knows how to deceive you and how to, you know, keep you from your purpose. That is his mission, to keep you from finding your true power, because we all have power. Right. And what happens when you start raising your level of consciousness, you start understanding, you know, the frequency chart and, you know, you start understanding the universal laws and God, you know, and the Holy Spirit and everything. The devil will work twice as hard to keep you from your mission.
Yes. And I see it so clearly. Like when people tell me like a story or something, I immediately be like, oh, that was a demon. People are like, what? I'm like, oh, sorry, did I say that out loud? But I literally see demon attacks upon people. Like God clearly shows me what's going on. And I'm like, oh, fuck. But a lot of people, you say there's demons and they're like, what? I don't make sense. And I'm like, I'm just going to say what I'm seeing.
Demons come in all forms and shapes, and even in women and men. I'm going to share something with you really quick.
Well, that's the only, demons are not able to touch us as chosen people because we're highly protected. Yeah. but they're able to jump into low vibrational people who are around us, causing them to go off on us.
It's crazy. That's crazy that you're saying all this, because for me, I understand the mission. I understand what the calling that God has called me upon. And now that I'm speaking, using my platform to redirect men back to the word, back to the kingdom, back to restoring masculinity, the devil is working twice as hard to try to deceive me. And he knows my weakness. For me, I'm Latino, you know, I love women, right? So what does he do? He sends attractive women. And now that I'm finding my calling, he's working twice as hard. And just recently, it's really crazy that you say that, because just recently I came in contact with someone who was very elite level and was showing a lot of the qualities that I liked in women, right? And I was like, man, this can possibly be it. And sure enough, this girl was sent by the devil. I understand that because she was tormented by the devil. We had some crazy conversations about alignment, about frequency and everything. Then she would tell me, she would literally tell me that she saw the devil, that the devil haunts her and everything. And, you know, and I was trying to walk her through meditation.
She's hosting demons in her.
Yeah. So I was trying to and, you know, she got baptized and everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that doesn't mean that we're all free. You get what I'm saying? This is when the devil will work twice as hard. But I literally had to stay up late at night to try to like be in prayer with her, to try to help her be at peace, you know? And I was like, after I hung up that phone, I was like, that was the devil.
Yeah.
She was sent by the devil. And immediately I cut it off. I was like, I love you and I want to see you doing good, but I cannot entertain this because I am aware that she was sent by the devil to try to deceive me. Yeah. And it was by her looks, you know, her status, looks, and everything, that the devil knows exactly what I'm looking for, you know, to try to build my family. And there's nothing worse than building a foundation of a family with the wrong individual. You imagine that.
I was
you
married.
Imagine that, right? Imagine me building a family,
together,
me
12,
who I consider myself a godly man, building a family with someone who was sent by the devil.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, it would destroy you.
Destroy
Would
me.
destroy you. You wouldn't be a mentor anymore.
The quality of
go
a
right
man's
back to
life,
hell.
the quality of a man's life is determined by the quality of the woman in his life. Run that back one more time, because that woman can either make you or break you.
It's 100% true. And I speak about this and I preached about it 100 times. And even when on my Unleash Your Sexy podcast, you know, I was obviously had nothing but influencers are and porn stars and rappers. And no matter what, I stood strong in my belief of I'm a motherfucking queen.
Yeah.
I'm always going to speak. I treat my men like kings.
Love it.
Like any man I've ever been with has nothing but high regards for me, because I'm never going to stop being an amazing person. I'm never going to stop speaking life over you. I'm never going to stop praying for you. I'm never going to stop supporting your dreams and elevating you. Because God, now that I'm understanding things so much more powerfully, every man I've ever been with has doubled or tripled his self-esteem, his income, his fame, his money. Everything has tripled because God shows me how to support this man. And you said, when you're dealing with a high woman with God frequency, my vibrational frequency, for me to pour that into somebody and to share that, both of our powers together, both of our DNA, our God DNA swirling together becomes like this, like a, what's the word when a bomb goes off?
An explosion?
Yeah. What's that one? What's the biggest bomb?
Like a ripple.
Hiroshima?
Yeah, the A-bomb, right?
The Hiroshima, that's what I think of when it went.
Yeah.
When you see it in the videos.
Yeah.
That's the power of two people. So my whole life, when I'm around other women who are toxic, I stand strong, whether it's my friends or I don't hang out with toxic girls either. Toxic girls do not like me. You know, if I was to walk into a room of people and we're all hanging out, the toxic girls have demons in them.
I was just going to say that. They see the light in you.
They immediately, they'll withdraw. Yeah. They'll withdraw, and maybe I'll see some girl all the way in the corner while everyone else is talking to me, and I'll be like, I already know your low vibration. The demons are in you, are hiding from me because they know I have the calling of God on my life. They know I'm highly favored, and you're not going to like me because you know that I'm here to change lives.
Have you ever showed a cross to a demon? What happens?
Yeah.
That's you walking in. You know, that's why they do that, because they can sense your light. You're also a light worker too. You know, we talked about that. And I do
Yeah.
believe that because I'm a light worker, you know, we were sent, you know, from what I understand of a light worker, we're sent by God. There's a certain amount of people that were sent by God on a mission to restore the light.
144,000. Have you heard that term?
Exactly.
The 144.
That's what it is. We were sent by God to restore the light, right, from darkness, right? And this is why people are attracted to us. And all these people that you talk about, like the men that were in your life and stuff like that, they ended up better because you've restored them. They were drawn, you know, to you because you are a light worker, also known as like an earth angel, right? Because I've gotten that in my whole life. You're like an earth angel, you know, you are, you know, and people are attracted to that, you know, and we restore the wounded, the brokenhearted, you know, the people who are struggling, the people who are literally craving the sense of a change in their life because they see it inside of us. And we had to go through it. You know, that's our mission in life. And it's powerful stuff. This stuff is real.
No, it really is. Like I even look back
I got goosebumps.
at my my relationship with my ex-husband. Like when I met him, I was 16. I was a born again Christian. I used to go to youth group on Wednesdays, church on Sunday. Fridays we had Bible study, and I had my own little Bible study for young girls at my area at my house.
Yeah.
Like I was brought up Pentecostal where they cast out demons, speak in tongues, like everything's been intense since I was 9 years old. God literally like tapped me on the shoulder in church. I remember and literally said, "You're gonna be traveling the world, saving lost souls." At 9 years old, he told me, and I literally just remember it being like, "Okay, God, like that, I'm here for it." So immediately I understood demons. God told me, "Okay, I'm gonna start showing you demons."
Yeah.
So I've always had the discernment, except obviously with my ex-husband, but he was sent to destroy me because he's the reason I was suicidal. He was the reason I was heartbroken. He did everything. Everything was meant to destroy me. Do you understand? Like I understand the path, and I'm just like, wow, that was like 12 years of. I danced with the devil. I slept with the devil.
And you didn't even know it.
And now today, like I can't even get past like 3 texts with the guy without blocking him.
Yeah.
Like immediately God's like, skirt, skirt,
Yeah.
skirt.
You know why? Because your level of consciousness has rise so much. That's what it is. This is why. That's what it is. You know, for me, like I always tell people this, and it's crazy. And I'm gonna start speaking about it a lot more on podcasts because this needs to get out. Like I see things, I hear things that people don't normally see. The reason being is not just because I'm the chosen one or a chosen one. It's because my level of frequency has rise. So now my awareness is so much higher. Now I'm getting to that God state.
Consciousness.
Your consciousness, you know, God is showing you. Now I see the demons. Now I see the signs and everything.
The veil between the 3D realm and the 5D realm. I feel like when you do get to the highest level.
Yeah.
So think of it like this. So 20, right, is regret, and shame is 20 and 30. That's the lowest frequency. And when you're on the chart, the highest frequency, the illuminance, the fluorescence, the God consciousness, it goes up to like 700, and then if you go even above that, it's like 1,000, right? And that's the God frequency. So a hummingbird, they always say, is able to see this realm and what we can't see because their wings are fluttering at such a high frequency. It's the frequency of God consciousness.
Wow.
So they're able to literally teleport in and out of this realm and the other realm. Yeah. So when us as humans get to that God consciousness, so what it is we are now seeing the veil between the 3D and the 5D. Yeah. So that's why we're awakened and we see things people don't see, but it's merely our frequency and we stay at that frequency. Yeah. So when we have the low vibrational, that girl that came in and you were just like, you saw what was going on. Because low vibrational, first of all, it feels icky. When I meet somebody low vibrational, it's icky,
uncomfortable. Yeah.
It's heavy. And I'm like, I don't want to save you, bro. Like, I don't have time for this. Like, this is heavy. Like, either come at a high frequency or not.
Yeah.
And that's God letting us know, like, hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
wrong frequency.
Yeah. It's crazy. One thing that I've
Okay,
never.
I gotta go tinkles.
Go for it.
Tell everybody how to get a hold of you,
Absolutely.
what projects you're working on right now,
Yep.
what you have coming up in the future, and how they could get a hold of you.
Absolutely. Let's see. You guys can find me on Instagram, which is my main platform. So this is Instagram at Luis Montoya Fit. You can also find me at luismontoyafit.com. Facebook is P90X Luis, and just message me if you guys have any questions. I love connecting with people. All it takes is just one message to change your life. I do business mentorship. I do fitness mentorship, life coaching. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. Now I'm starting to go on a bigger mission where I'm starting to do masterminds where I'm going to be teaching people how to not just scale their business, but I want to make sure that they scale their whole life in general. So it's the whole brand. My brand is about faith, family, finances, fitness, and more importantly, having fun. It is the 1%. So if you're someone who resonates with those core values, definitely get a hold of me. I want to help you become the best version of yourself. Yeah. And any questions that you guys have, I'm here to help you guys. I always say there's no such thing as a dumb question. Whatever it is that you guys are going through, there's a reason. If you're watching this, I do believe that nothing happens by coincidence. If you're watching this episode, it's because you were meant to watch this episode. There's something in the universe, in your life that you're going through that's resonating with this, or there's something that either she said or I said that is definitely resonating that you needed to hear today. Maybe it's going to start raising your level of consciousness. I do believe that we don't meet people by accident. If you are watching this episode, it's because you were meant to hear this message. So I thank you for, just listening and being a part of it.
Wait. I always say this too is, if you're watching this, there are zero coincidences in life.
Mm-hmm.
You were divinely orchestrated at the right time to be here.
Yeah.
And watching this, take what resonates and what doesn't, just leave it behind. Remember that this podcast is going to be here for lifetimes of generations. So this message, if it didn't particularly resonate with you, it's meant for someone else. If it resonated for you, it was for you. As in life, period. If you see something that doesn't resonate, just keep it pushing.
Yeah.
No reason.
Absolutely.
If you loved it, if you saw anything in this podcast that you thought maybe your mom, your dad, your best friend, your ex could hear or use, go ahead and forward it. Give this video a thumbs up.
I love it.
Okay.
I want to ask you a question if you don't mind. Okay. I want to get your take on this because you're a very spiritual person and I've asked different people. For me, I don't have all the answers. it's still very blurry.
Good,
I understand. All right, good. I'm downloading all the information from God. God is giving me the mission. I understand that very clearly, but there's still things that obviously are a little blurry and I'm gaining clarity as I my frequency changes and, my level of consciousness rises. I see more things. But when I was a child, right, I remember my nanny, the nanny that I told you about. Era un travieso, I was like a little punk. So when I would get in trouble, she would throw me inside a closet, right? She would lock the closet. She would turn off, it was a small closet too. She would turn off the lights and the doorknob didn't lock. So she would drop me in there and she would be like, the devil's gonna get you. The devil's gonna get you. The devil's gonna get you. She would let me try to open the door. And as soon as I would try to see the light, she would shut it and she would like freak me out. She would be like, the devil got you. The devil got you. And it got to the point where like, she wouldn't stop until I was traumatized from it. Like I would fall on the floor and I would be in the fetal position and I would just be like shaking. And then that's when she would let me out. Right. So I had the fear of the dark. I never slept without, lights till I was like 18. That's when I finally faced that fear, right? But the reason being is because every single time that I would try to go to sleep, everything would turn into demons, right? So I don't know if she opened something up inside of me that let me see something. I don't know what it was, but then around that time, I started hearing voices in my head, and I still hear them to this day. I just learned how to block them off, right, through prayer, meditation, and things like that, right? But I remember, like, even when I would have my cousins over for, like a sleepover, they would be like, dude, it's 2:00 in the morning. How come you're not going to sleep? And I'm like, I can't go to sleep. They're like, why? I'm like, I can't get the voices to stop. And they're like, voices? They all thought I was crazy. I'm like, you don't hear the voices? Like, how do you get them to stop? And then they'd be like, what are you talking about, bro? And I'm like, I hear like just random voices, right? Then when the movie The Sixth Sense came out with the little
That's
boy.
literally what God showed me is like a curandero. Like you have the ability where people who've passed can come talk to you because they have messages for you.
I've tried. I got goosebumps. I've been afraid to tap into that because I don't know if it's from God or if it's from the devil. But I tried listening. I went to like a therapist, and they were like, "Oh, maybe it's PTSD." Or they were like, "Oh, why don't you try to listen?" And I tried listening, and sometimes it's different. Sometimes it's little boys, little girls, parents, but they're not saying anything. I don't know if it's because I haven't tapped into it fully, but it's just like random like sentences, right? And I'm like, no, I don't want to even entertain that because I don't understand what it is. So, what do you think of that?
Okay, so you have a gift. So I already kind of the vision I was getting right now is I was like downloading because I'm able to speak to people who passed. And when you're a chosen one, and me knowing you as Latino, right? So we have Mayans, we have Incas, right? And back in the day, we had medicine men, we had kings, and we had people who were able to go into different portals. So it's you being like, what's the word? It's like you have the power of like a wizard. Get it? Like you have the power to manipulate energy, and you have the power from this realm to the other realm to where you're getting messages. So what I'm also hearing is your spirit team. Your spirit team is speaking to you, and so they can give you signs. So if you're not seeing signs, they're gonna literally speak to you because you're able to. So it's nothing to be scared of. It's you're activating your inner gifts to connect to your spirit team, and you are able to speak to spirits who are on the other side. And there's messages in it that are powerful. There's nothing to be scared of. It sounds scary at first, but when you literally could say, because I can say like people who've crossed, they speak to me all the time. I'm able to talk, and sometimes I'll be places with somebody, and I'll be like I'll just maybe like in like I'll see a shadow of like maybe an older woman to the left, and then like I don't know, I could say a random name, or I'd be like, you don't name somebody, and they'll be like, yeah, like how'd you know that? I'm like, like
That's crazy.
So the more you get into it, you'll realize it's you're like a true like sorcerer, get it? But it's like like you're truly evolved, like your powers.
Yeah.
You just have like multiple powers.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
You know what's crazy? I'm like listening to this from like a third party right now, from like the viewers, and some of you guys might resonate with this and be like, wow, that's powerful. Or some of you guys might be like, these guys are crazy. But here's the crazy thing about it, one that I want to leave you guys with, but I think it's amazing. We all have power inside of us, right? Two, the belief system that you have, whatever you feed into will become a reality, right? So I do believe, you do believe that God has chosen us, right? And this is why we're on this mission. But three, the biggest takeaway is look at our lives. I mean, I love my life. It's a positive life. I help people. I inspire people. I'm in great shape. I'm great looking. I'm financially fit, I'm living the best life. God wants all of us to win at life. Like he wants us to be successful. He wants us to be abundant. But it's not until you uncover that gift inside of you that you're going to step into that. And God is going to give you all those tools to be able to create that type of life for you. Imagine you creating that type of life for yourself. You're just one decision away. Tap into the source.
Yeah.
Right?
You become one.
Crazy.
Definitely.
Yep.
Okay, so let's ending this. What are some takeaways that you want people to take from this?
Yeah. The biggest takeaway is as much as you want to do this alone, we can't do this alone. If you can take my biggest advice, the biggest takeaway that I can give you is I've tried doing this alone and I failed multiple times. And I can keep trying, but it wasn't until I surrendered my life to Jesus and I said, I can't do this alone. Help me get through this. Take control. Use me as a vessel. What do you need from me? I know that I'm always asking for the Lambos. I'm asking for the mansions, all the stuff that I don't need. Who do you need me to be right now at this very moment in life? Utilize me. Speak through me. Help my life be a reflection of your power. That's when your life will truly change. For me, the moment that I surrendered my life to Jesus, that's the moment that I became fully successful. I became myself whole, and I was able to tap into a source that I didn't understand, that I'm still beginning to understand, but it's so impactful. Like now my life has meaning. Like I love it. I wouldn't change it. All the stuff that I went through got me here. I would not change me being molested, me, almost committing suicide, me losing my child. All that stuff had to happen for me to have my power. And I understand that it's no longer about me. It's about serving people.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Deanne Munoz, and I am a mentor and coach to women and men who are learning to turn their mess into a message. I'm an ex-film star, ex-addict, ex-alcoholic. I'm an ex-everything. Ex-crazy one, but I'm still crazy, but I'm crazy for God. I'm crazy for transformation. I'm crazy for life, for living, for freedom of the freaking voices that are those demonic voices in my head. If you're seeking mentorship, we have Luis available. If you're a woman and you're seeking mentorship, please reach out to me. Down below, we'll have emails. You'll have ways to contact me, ways to contact Luis. Thank you so much for speaking today. I'm so glad I got to meet you, and I'm glad this year for we came from the same mentor, and it's played a big role in my life because I've been anti-men friends. I've never had a man friend. I've never had a man friend. I've always been anti-friends with men. Like I've never met men who didn't try to always hit on me or sleep with me. Yeah. So I've just never had guy friends. And this year through the program with him, like everyone I've met so far in this program has been nothing but respectful and loving. And it's the first time I believe in good men again. Yeah. It's the first time I feel safe. And thank you for giving me a safe space to be loving and kind and not perverticize it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. I do want to take this moment. You mentioned our mentor. I do want to take a moment to shout out Wes. Wes literally changed my life in the sense of like he awakened my level of consciousness. He was meant to be in our life because he serves a purpose in our life. And, I've got nothing but positive things to say about him, and I love him. I love him, and I'm thankful that he played a role in my life for that, because now we're able to do this. Now we're able to connect, and we're able to have this intimate conversation that can touch and help people.
Yes, so I love it. So grateful, so grateful. Thank you for your commitment to being the amazing man you are.
Thank you.
We love you, and may God continue to protect you and guide you, and anyone treats you wrong, let me at it. Just make a call, Deanne, pull up. I'm not even ask a question. I'm going to be there.
I love it.
I love you.
Likewise.
I admire you, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Likewise.
We love you guys. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with somebody who needs to hear this message. Till next time, hasta la vista.